Okay, subtracting integers. To subtract integers, we need to look at our numbers. We're then going to change the operation from subtraction to addition, change the sign of the second number, and then apply our adding integers rule. And just a reminder, I do have a video on adding integers that you may want to watch before you get to this one. But anyways, let's get started. So let's do the first one here. We've got 2 minus 5. So first let's identify what are our numbers. Well, our numbers are both positive, okay? So when we look at this sign right here, this is our operation. This is what we're doing. We are subtracting. But our actual numbers are both positive because they don't have the negative sign with the bracket like we got here or like we've got in this other one here, which we will look at in a minute, okay? So 2 minus 5. Our next step is to change this operation sign to a plus. So we leave our 2 the way it is. We change our operation sign to a plus, and then we change the sign of our number right now because it's a positive. We're going to make it the opposite, which is going to be a negative. So this becomes a negative 5. And this is the key when you're subtracting integers. Change the operation sign, then change the sign of the number to the right. If you don't do that, you're not going to get the right answer. Now what we look at is, wait a minute, this is adding integers. So now we just want to apply what we do when we add integers. In this case, when our integers are different and different signs, what we do is we grab the greatest number, in this case is 5, we subtract the smaller number, which is a 2. So we've got 5 and we take away 2, what do we get? We have a 3. And now we apply the sign of the largest number. So the sign of our largest number, which is 5, is a negative. So our answer is negative 3. Okay, so that may have been a little bit too much and too confusing, but we've got enough examples to go. So we're going to do another 2 here. Let's go to the next one. So let's remove what we've done so far. And let's move on to the second example that we've got here, which is negative 2 minus 5. So again, let's rewrite it. I always like to rewrite our questions. So we've got negative 2 minus 5. So let's stop for a minute and let's determine what is it that we have here. We've got a negative number here, which is a negative 2. But what about this 5? Is it a negative 5 or a positive 5? It's a positive 5. So again, don't get confused about this sign. This sign just says that we're subtracting. The number itself is not negative. You don't have a bracket in front of it with a little negative sign. So it's a positive 5. So we have negative 2 minus positive 5. Okay, so our next step is our negative 2 stays the same. We don't do anything to it. But our operation sign changes to a plus. And also the number on the right changes to the opposite sign. So we said it's a positive 5, so it becomes a negative 5. And now when we look at it, what we've got here is we have an addition of 2 negative numbers. So in our addition rules for integers, adding integers, if we've got 2 negative numbers, we add them together and we keep the sign, which in this case is a negative because both numbers are negative. Okay, let's move on to our third example. So let me remove what we've got here so far. Hope you're getting the hang of this. All right, and let's do negative 2 minus negative 5. Okay, so what numbers do we got here? We got a negative 2 and we've got a negative 5. You see the difference when the number's negative? Okay, we have it inside a bracket with a negative sign. And this right here is our operation. It just means that we're subtracting. Okay, on our next step, we bring down our negative 2. We're not doing anything to it, okay? And our operation changes to plus, to addition. And we said the number on the right, we've got to change the sign to the opposite of what it currently has. So this is a -5. What's the opposite of -5? +5. Okay, now we have an addition. Our rules of addition when we've got a negative plus a positive is we subtract the smaller number from the biggest number. So in this case, our smaller number is say 2 and our bigger number is say 5. So what is 5 minus 2 is 3. And we keep the sign of the largest number. So what's the sign of this largest number? In this case, well, the sign of the largest number is a positive because it's a positive number. So that means our 3 is 3, +3. You can write that like that, or you can write it like this if it makes you feel better to be able to identify that it's a +3. But both ways are fine. Okay, I'd like to do one more just to make sure that you are ready for this. So let's take this away. And let's just do one more to make sure that you really did get the hang of our steps here. And so let's go back here to our pen. All right, let's do this. So let's have let me go with a -3 minus -7. So again, we know that it's a negative number because it's inside the bracket with its negative sign. And this sign right here is our operation. It just means that we're subtracting. Next step, we bring down the first number. This one stays the same. We're not touching it. But we're going to change our operation to a plus because now we're going to add. And I said we also then change the sign of the second number. So in this case, we have a -7. It's got to become the opposite of what it currently is. So it's going to become a +7. So this is a +7. If it makes you feel better to put it inside a bracket with a little positive sign, you can do that. It doesn't matter if it's better for you, as long as you're doing the right steps. Okay, now we've got our addition rule. And our addition rule tells us that we have a +7 and a -3. So when the signs are different in addition, what do? When we have a negative and a positive, we're going to subtract the smaller number from the larger number, regardless of what the sign is. We don't care about the sign at this point. And so we've got a 4. When we subtract a 3 from a 7, we have a 4. Then we're going to keep the sign of the largest number. So what is the sign of the largest number? It's a positive. It's a positive. So we've got a +4. And again, you can write this as a +4 if that makes you feel better. All right? Okay. I hope that you were able to understand subtracting integers.